Hello there guys, and welcome to Coxsonot Gaming, and welcome to my patch 1.5 Archer tutorial. Now, for those of you who have seen my previous Archer tutorial, forget everything you've seen, because the Archer has changed so much since that patch. Basically, the way I used to play before, of using roll as my main movement mechanic, and then Hawk Harass and Headshot as kind of my main DPS, it just doesn't work anymore. I wish Ubisoft would release more detailed patch notes to really hone in on what it is they've exactly changed about each ability, because I'm finding the headshot ability really lackluster. I mean, it reads beautifully still. On paper it's really nice, and I'm sure that's where they've come from, but it doesn't. I don't know whether it's to do with the buffs they've given to certain creatures, but if you come up against a Pete Poundmore, who I previously used to be able to just about one shot with a Hawk Harass, well, more than one shot, Hawk Harass and a headshot, and then maybe a auto attack or two, that would kill a Pete Poundmore prior to the patch. But now it barely does say like a third of his health, and then by the time he reaches you, you're pretty much dead. And so, you know, I've had to mix up my abilities a bit, and thank you for people I've had discussions with on the forums, if that is you. Because, you know, it's all helped out learning how to replay the Archer. So without further ado, let's take a look at my abilities. For starters, I'm using Hawk Harass for the same reasons I did before. It's a 3-second stun, which is really nice for stunning someone who's just about to come into range of you, and then, you know, maybe rolling away or just running away, and it's just really nice. It does a really nice chunk of damage as well, and you know, it's an all-round nice ability. I've replaced my headshot ability with split shot. The reason for this is in the latest patch, Ubisoft have reduced the angle at which the arrows all fly out, and while it is still quite a wide burst, if you get quite close to someone, you get this shotgun effect where all 5 arrows hit them, and you know, 5 times 363, it's a lot of damage and a lot more than the single target 725. And if you look at the mana costs, it's 5 less mana and like 3.1 seconds less cooldown, so you're getting a lot more bang for your buck with split shot than headshot nowadays. So I definitely recommend people trying to wean that into their builds. I've kept roll for the same reasons as before. It's a great movement ability, more so than spiral shot, I'd say, because I find with spiral shot, while it's a really nice escape mechanic when you're shooting at someone, if you're trying to be flashy, like leaping over people, you know, you have to get your movement right, the way you're facing right. Whereas with roll, you know, you're rolling in the direction that you're clicking, and it's just really nice. And the fact that you can roll through enemies and it gives you 300% block, it's just such a nice mechanic. And finally, this is the biggest change to my build from the previous one, is you have to have some CC. Like, people in the forums have said it, like when people are saying Archer's too hard at the moment, everyone who is saying they aren't finding Archer hard, they're saying you have to use CC, whether it be freezing shot in my case or caltrops. I'd say those are the two mains. Like bear traps, they're okay, but they're really hard to set up in the perfect position, because you know, you just kind of throw them in an arc in front of you. And so if I'd say it's up to you guys to pick between caltrops and freezing shot, but I really like freezing shot because it does AoE damage around the person who hits it. So this is why I've replaced my piercing shot, which I used before, with freezing shot, because I'm still getting that AoE damage when I'm, say, kiting people around corners, but at the same time I'm slowing them down, and you know, it's just all round a really nice ability to have, and it's one of the few things which can keep you alive as an Archer nowadays. Go back to piercing shot. One of the main reasons I've stopped using this now is because they've nerfed the damage from, I think it was 85% of your weapon damage, and it's now 50% of your weapon damage. And you know, it maybe doesn't sound like that much, but it does make a huge difference, and it just didn't feel worth it anymore. Like, I wasn't killing mobs fast enough, and by the time I'd maybe killed a few, I was just getting overwhelmed and killed anyway. And so now piercing shot, I'm sure it will all be balanced eventually, but for now I'm giving that a big thumbs down. For those of you who are interested in the volley ability, this is one of the few which I do sometimes mix in depending on the castle. Like if I see someone's got a very big mob heavy dungeon, if you know what I mean, like whereas some people like to just say have a Pete Palmore like in every mob, other people like to spam loads and loads of mobs at once in every single mob. And if that's the type of dungeon you're up against, volley, I tend to replace split shot with volley, and it's just because you can shoot it through walls before they've even seen you, and you pretty much take out a whole mob, not including bigger units, just with the one cast. And they've reduced the cost now to 50 mana, and with the whole regaining mana per passive attack that they've added in, which is really nice, I really like that. You can use volley a lot more now, because whereas before it was 75 mana and you didn't have any mana regeneration on hit, so you're pretty much blowing your whole load in one shot, and then you just have to sit there for 5 minutes while your mana comes back. But they've made it a lot more viable now, and yeah, like I said, if you're coming up against a castle which you know has a lot of mobs in it, you know, the most obvious example would be a derp farm, but you know, I'm not really into that. But yeah, volley is the ability for you. It will just take out a whole mob in one shot, kind of thing. So yeah, so those are my abilities. So now I'm in completely the wrong area. Now I'm gonna show you this all in action, because it's easier to explain as you go along, really. And I'm gonna try find a dungeon which I can do, and I'm gonna skip to the start of my first success, and I'll tell you how many fails I have. Because whereas before, again, down to the changes I find, and you know, maybe not having played as much as I did prior to the patch, but whereas before I could easily take on dungeons my level, maybe even 1-2 levels above me, and I could pretty much guarantee completing them first time without fail. Now you know, I tend to aim a level below me, 2 levels below me, and even then it's not a guarantee that I'll down it first time. And you know, it's just touch and go. But I do tend to find with this build, I mean, I suppose it shows more balance, that you do have to do a little bit of a repetition now to complete a dungeon. It's not just a face roll every time. But yeah, I do tend to find aim a level or 2 below, and you know, you tend to be able to down each dungeon within, you know, 2-3 tries if you don't do it the first time. But yeah, so I'm now going to go to a playthrough of a dungeon. Alright then, here we are at my first attempt at a dungeon. You probably saw me hovering over this one a moment ago. I've got 7 minutes to complete this dungeon. It's level 23, and if I complete it, I'm going to get 10,000 gold. What I normally find is, if someone does have, say, a 10k reward, it normally means that it is quite hard. One thing you'll notice about Hawk Harass is, because they've improved the pathing of like mobs and stuff, the same applies to the Hawk, and so you can now pull around corners with your Hawk, which is really nice. And you'll notice there that I'm just avoiding the hunger bot as much as possible, and I'm using my split shot when bigger units get close, and see I can take them down quite quickly, and that's quite a tanky unit in this patch. And then just avoid the flame traps. This, when you see a derp like that, you can normally assume that there's going to be a hunger bot, but in this case it's a Pete Palmore. So I'm just going to kite him around a little bit, stun him, slow, and then when he gets about there, just hit some split shots in him. So the thing with Pete Palmores is they do so much. I consider it a bug at the moment that with the 3-hit combo, even if the first one hits you and then you get out of range, just roll through. Oh crap! Oh, that was a really nice thingamabob there. Shit, this is really nice combo actually. Alright, let's roll through here. Let's get out of here. Fucking hate that. And there we go. I've lost my train of thought there. That threw me off, that mob. Yeah, like if you do have a strong mob like a Pete Palmore, you're never going to be able to take them on just head on like I used to be able to. Purely because the 3-hit combo, which most people set it on, it hits you even if you say get hit by the first one, and then go to move away from the second hits, the second to hit you, even when you're out of range. And I consider that a bug, and I'm hoping they'll fix that eventually. Oh, these bloody silencers, whatever they're called. Oh, I really like the dampeners. I think they're a really nice mob to have in your dungeon. My castle isn't high enough rank for it at the moment, but yeah, I'd definitely recommend them to people. When you see one mob stretched out like that, you can normally assume that there's going to be a hunger bot ready to grab you. Yeah. You can see I'm just using a split shot, and it just does really nice damage from close range on most units. You tend to be able to one-shot hunger bot. If you kite a hunger bot around a corner, you tend to be able to just one-shot them, which is nice to get them before they grab you. So again, just letting them come close. These guys, thankfully, the Robo Shieldatrons don't do as much damage as they used to. Because they're now a lot more. They're now a lot slower than they used to be. So you don't really have to. Whereas before, I was actually quite scared when I saw them, like thinking, "Oh shit, I got to pull out some magic here." Nowadays, they're really not that powerful at all. Alright, so one thing you always want to do is kind of scout out a little bit. Like, I think nowadays they've added a lot more time onto dungeons, and so if you do see little mobs like that, it does waste some time, but it can pay off to just pull it and then wait around the corner. I mean, in that case, it does look like, oh crap, flame traps hurt a lot now as well, by the way. So what we've got here. Alright, so let's do this. Oh crap. Yeah, this is gonna hurt. So we're gonna quickly take out this Cyclops. Oh god. Fucking dampeners. Oh god. So just kiting him. Shit. And there we go. Oh, fuck's sake. Well, I'm just gonna heal this one because I feel like this is quite a nice dungeon. And I might make this dungeon the oh, there we go, the example of the episode. So one thing I do find is if it is a big reward, like say 10k, and you think you're probably quite close to the end, it is worth resurrecting just so you can see what's coming up for when you then do try and do a money run. Because you know I've spent 750 gold on that resurrection, but I'm gonna get 10k if I beat him. So you just wanna pull the mob, pull it back. Same as I said in my previous tutorial, with those kind of mobs, if you just keep fighting them back, you'll eventually find that they go out of range of the shield bots, and then you can just kill them, basically. So it's always nice to kite backwards. Okay, this is something you see a lot of now. It's a hunger bot with debasers, or no, I think they've changed the name of them now. They're now stairmasters, and that combo, each one of these balls does about 300 damage now. That they've really increased the damage of them. Oh crap! And so if you see a if you do kind of poke your head around and have a look to see what's coming, if you see that combo, make sure you don't get grabbed, because if you get grabbed, you're dead. It's as simple as that. Right, so we're gonna quickly try and take this guy out. And in regards to weapon type, because of the whole animation lock thing, which I'm not too fond of at the moment, whereas before I recommended using fast weapons, like say the autocannon. Oh crap, I'm gonna die again. Oh my god. Oh, this isn't going well. I think that hunger bot saved me a little bit then. Let's see if we can roll through that health. Oh god, this isn't going well. Oh, barely survived that. Alright, now that was a bit hairy. I didn't look ahead really. I should have pulled that mob back through the corridor. Alright, so where are we now? Going through here. They've improved the hitbox on those now as well, the monkey wheels. Hamster wheels, sorry. So what we've got a Pete Poundmore. So I'm gonna do that. Oh god, there's shields all over the place. So we've got to take out the smaller guy first. Shit. This is actually quite a nice boss room. I like this. So I'm gonna keep kiting. Okay, so that's the first one down. And that's what I'm saying about that fucking bug. I was he hit me with the first punch, but I was nowhere near him when he did the second and third one, and it still hit me. So yeah, that's a really annoying bug at the moment. I consider it. But yeah, so this is the boss room, and I'm pretty comfortable that I can do this now without dying. And if I don't, I'll skip to my successful attempts and tell you the number. So yeah, I'm probably not going to commentate as much over this attempt because I'm just going to concentrate. But I've done the whole run before, so you know what my thought processes are as I'm going through this. Right. See, when there's a healer there, it does sometimes pay just to get close and just nuke the fuck out of them. Bastards. And yeah, definitely really avoid flame traps flame turrets as much as you can. Oh, fucking bugs. Pete Poundmores are probably the most common thing I've seen done. That Stairmaster thing with the balls and the Hunger Bot and Pete Poundmores are the most common thing I see at the moment. But I wouldn't go too far as to say they're overpowered. I'd say they're probably just right, to be honest. But I'd say nothing else really compares with them. So that's why they are kind of the tits at the moment. That's nice. And same as with my previous tutorial, you can obviously Pete Poundmore's a bit broken at the moment, but with the majority of mobs you can get away with, say, doing a shot, taking a step back, doing a shot, taking a step back if they're a bit slower moving. But yeah. So let's remember this room. Right, I think there's a guy here that pulls a mob through. I think these flame turrets are slightly underpowered. I think, bearing in mind they are quite easy to dodge, I say as I just walk into one, they could afford to do a lot more damage. So possibly a Hunger Bot coming through in a sec. But like even there, see, I would have said I was out of range of him, so I'm wondering if this distance bug, well, bug that I consider it to be, applies to a lot of mobs now. Oh, fuck's sake. Always grab health bubbles. But yeah, as I was saying about weapon type, I definitely favour the slower, more like the ones which have a really strong damage per shot, but not necessarily a really quick attack speed. I find they're the better weapons to have at the moment. I remember this one taking quite a while to come round. I'd say, yeah, for me, that's is the most annoying thing about the game at the moment, is that bug. The bases are the bane of my life. This actually reminds me quite a lot of my very first castle design, for those of you who have seen that. Oh no, I'm getting rinsed. Oh my god. No. Luckily there were some health potions there. No! Oh, thought I got animation like then. I'm just going to wait for the next claw to come out. Lovely health. So yeah, I'm running out of time a bit now, so hopefully the boss room's coming up. I'll waste your bubble over here, and that just means I can come over here, take this one out quick. And this is the room which I just randomly ran into without thinking last time. So I'm thinking I might actually run out of time now, to be honest. Unless there's not many mobs left. It's going to be close. Oh, fuck's sake. I did get a lot of rares there, so I'm going to heal that. Alright, now this here, I think I am going to have to steal this boss, because this is a bastard. Hats off to Ivia GLC. But to be honest, that might be as close as I'm going to get with that boss fight. But I think this shows that while I haven't succeeded in these dungeons, I think it does show that the Archer is still viable. I would like to see my kind of previous builds to become viable again, because I do tend to favour just having high DPS and high mobility over having to use CC. But no, yeah, this does show that there are Archer builds which are viable at the moment, and you know, this is the one which I find works. And you know, to be honest, with enough grinding, I probably could narrow the time down on that and get that done in time. And you know, the only reason I died at the end there was because I was rushing to try and kill him in that like last 10 seconds I had before I ran out of time. But no, yeah, so I hope you guys have found this helpful. I know it's not the ideal scenario not to see me finish a dungeon properly. But yeah, I hope this shows you that the Archer is still viable at the moment, and you know, I hope it improves your gameplay. And if you have any suggestions on how I can improve my gameplay, because as this shows I definitely still need some improvement, please let me know in the comments below what you'd suggest. One last thing, as in regards to gear, for those of you who haven't seen my last video, I'm still recommending the same. Pretty much go for pure damage. I do like having a bit of defense in there. Don't go pure glass cannon now. I'd say, because obviously, like with the Pete Poundmore bug, which I said earlier, you do need to be able to take a hit or two, because sometimes it just isn't avoidable. But for the most part, you know, go. I've got quite a high DPS, but at the same time, I've got a nice damage. I've got a nice block chance, 20%. With my roll, I'm getting 300% block chance. You know, I'm reducing physical by 50% and magical by 35%. You know, they're not. I'm not a pure glass cannon, but I'm, you know, maybe about 75% damage and 25% armor, and you know, it seems to be working out for me. And I think in future I might try and get the old 8% block armor. Well, obviously it goes up depending on what level you are, but I might try and get a more defensive armor. Ooh, well there you go. I've now got a more defensive armor, so doing that run's probably made me better now. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. 322 health, that's lovely. Yeah, I can live without that. But so yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful, and you know, give me a comment to tell me what you think or how you'd improve yourself. Thank you very much. Goodbye.